My name's Jared from Deluxe Hand Car Wash in Yarraville. Behind me is a dark blue Lexus. This car's a few years old, and the customers asked me, do you think it will make much of a difference to the paintwork if we do some machining to it? So I think this is a great example of just how drastic the improvement can be, as this car's in pretty bad shape. I thought while I was at it I would do a demonstration very quickly on the boot lid. I'm not sure this car's ever had anything done to it, so it's going to be a great example of machine polish. Call it whatever you like. It could be carton polish, machine polish, paint correction. Everyone's got a different name for it, but it pretty much means the same things. Let's have a look at this car to show you just how dramatic the difference is, and hopefully the customer will be impressed enough to go ahead and get this car done at a later date. So let's have a look. Wowee, as you can see, this car is what you might call hammered. It's rough, it's faded, it's got excessive amounts of scratches in it. You can see here it's got bird stains and burns and whatnot in it. And believe it or not, this car is, well, I can't tell if it's blue or black, it's that faded. So let's get started. This should be an absolute dramatic improvement to this car. Let's get started. First thing to do is clay the car. I think this is the most important. This is removing all of the pollution and rough stuff that's stuck to the clear coat over the years, and it'll allow us a nice clean surface to start machining. We're going to use blue clay today. It's fairly mild, but it's a great all-rounder. So let's have a look. Okay, so what's really important here is as you clay across the surface, you need to make sure it's lubricated. We use a finishing spray. It's like a wax. It's really good for finishing cars as it helps take off any remnants of polish. And this mainly applies to cars that we polish here at the car wash that haven't been clayed. So the polish sticks to the grit and the grime and it leaves little bits. And that's generally the reason why you end up with polish left over your car after you've done the job. You think you've checked it properly, but as it dries, it gets stuck to those little bits of grit and muck and pollution, and that's what leaves those streaks on your car. So this clay process will get all of that grit and muck off, and you just keep going over. Now, when I do this job, I like to run my thumb and my little finger either side of the clay, and that allows me to feel the painted surface. You can see all the pollution here. You can see on here the pollution, that's all the brown stuff that comes off the top surface of the paint. If this car was actually white in colour, you'd see all the brown muck sliding off the surface. Step 2, S3 Gold, pretty heavy cutting compound. We're going to run over this. This will take out the bulk of the marks. I'm not going to push too hard, as this Lexus and all Lexuses have extremely soft clear coats. So the marks should come out fairly easily. So quickly here, what you can see are the two main products we're using today. The S3 Gold here, this is a great cutting compound. It cuts quite heavily. It comes with a nice chart. Look, you can pick your products and pick all the pads for finishing and cutting and preparing paint. That's a really easy way to guide yourself through. And today we're using the S40 here, as it says, an anti-swirl. It's right up high in the fine, so it's a very fine finish, and it's a really great way to put a great glossy coat on all paints, but especially this soft paint surface. So we're using the orange pad here to finish with this one, and we use the hardcore spider white pad here, which is right up in the heavy end, with the S3 gold, and that really cut out the bulk of the scratches. So let's get started. Okay, so what we've just seen here is the S3 gold, and that's one of the second heaviest cutting compound that Shoal has, and you'll notice that I'm not actually cutting for very long, and that is because it has a cut cycle. So it turns from a cutting compound into a polish. What this basically means is that it doesn't wear away as much of the paint, but very, very efficient product that gives amazing results. So if you have a look here now, apart from the serious damage on this car, the scratching and whatnot, you could take this out with 2000 sandpaper, and not really what I'm trying to demonstrate today. So we will finish this off now with a very light swirl remover just to make sure, and that will leave a beautiful finish on the car. So I'll quickly show you that. So you'll notice here I'm using a different machine. These random orbit machines are defined by their throw, or how much that plate shakes and moves. So that big machine I was using has a 10 to 12 mil throw. That is, the plate moves a total of 10 to 12 millimeters either side, and that's really great for cutting cars and taking scratches and doing larger areas. Whereas this is a finishing machine, this has a throw of about 6 millimeters, so it sounds like it's revving a little bit harder, and the vibration is a little bit finer, but it's fantastic for putting a finish on the car. I'll show you how this works. Okay, so what we've just seen here is the S40 on the finishing machine. It's a really fine little shake across the car, and it takes out very fine swirls. Doesn't really remove any scratches, but it does leave a magnificent finish on the paint. Me personally, I like to seal cars up, so that's how that clear coat is now. So that is the finish of the car. So in order to protect that, a polish is put across the top. This makes the water bead off, the soap bead off, and allows you to clean your car without scratching it. We use a black paste on dark cars, as I think it gives a nicer finish. We'll have a quick look. you see on this car here is it's still got some burn stains and some deeper scratches, but the finish on the paint now is massively different. Look, if you put water on this, you go to wash it, it's not going to keep scratching it, it's not going to keep damaging it. It feels beautiful and smooth, it'll be much easier to maintain. Whereas this side, it looks white, it's so faded, it's changed the colour of the paint. So if you've got a car and you're not sure what you want done, it's not necessary to heavily machine every car, but if you have a vehicle and you'd like something done, pop in and see me, ask for Jared, and we can organise you a quote and a time and have your car looking its best. Thanks for watching. Please remember, if you like what you see, like or subscribe, share, or all of the above. That really helps us out. Thanks for watching. See you next time.